Prawns and shrimps are emerging to be a major dollar earner for the country. From 1,700 tons, valued at 50 million pesos in 1975, exports have increased steadily to some 4,200 tons, valued at more than 260 million pesos in 1979. Prawn is a profitable cash crop for the smaller aquaculture operators, and it has generated more employment in rural aqua farming communities. 70% of Philippine exports come from ponds. In contrast, 90% of the world's supply of this product, which amounted to 1.7 million tons in 1980, comes from capture fishery. In other words, prawn farming in the country is contributing more and more to the aquaculture industry, but it hasn't always been so. When the Aquaculture Department of the Southeast Asian Fisheries Development Center was established in 1973, there was no prawn culture industry to speak of, except for the harvest of a few kilos of sugpo and other prawns as an incidental crop in milkfish ponds. Research at the Aquaculture Department started with prawns. It has been mainly directed toward technological development in 4 areas: broodstock, hatchery, nursery, and pond culture. Preliminary studies have also touched on the post-harvest of prawns. What have been the results? In broodstock research, discovery and refinement of the ablation technique to induce their gonads or reproductive organs to mature led to the completion of the life cycle of sugpo in captivity. This opened up the possibility of completely domesticating the prawn. For industry impact of this development, use of ablated females from broodstock ensures a reliable and cheap supply of spawners or mother prawns. A dozen progressive private hatcheries are now maintaining land-based maturation tanks to produce spawners. With application of the broodstock technology from SEAFDEC, hatcheries no longer have to depend so much on wild spawners. In rearing technology, the department has evolved techniques to raise the larvae of prawns and other shrimps in hatcheries and nurseries to suit local conditions. SEAFDEC hatchery technology has led to the establishment of more viable hatcheries. In 1973, there was only 1. Last year, there were 50. They turned out in 1982 some 40 million fry, compared to only 15 million caught from the wild, a turnaround in trend from 5 years back when broodstock technology was still inadequate. A nursery pond system that has been able to produce juveniles with survival rates of 50 to 80% has been designed by department researchers. The system is now undergoing improvements. In pond culture, the department has done research on the 3 management systems for raising prawn to market size, which evolved on the basis of feeding and water management: extensive, semi-intensive, and intensive. Studies have been focused on the semi-intensive system because it appears to be appropriate to our present social and economic conditions and has greater application among individual fish farmers. Researchers have figured out that if 20,000 hectares of existing ponds were farmed semi-intensively to produce an average of 2 tons a hectare a year, the country stands to gain a production of 40,000 tons of sugpo. This would be 10 times more than current rational production. There are more than 300 species of prawns and shrimps worldwide. However, only 80 of these have commercial value. Due to their fast growth rates, high survival resistance to handling, and consumer acceptability, the giant tiger prawn or sugpo, scientifically known as Peneus monodon is the #1 species in the Philippines and other Asian countries, followed by hipong puti or putian. Adult sugpo and other prawns spawn in offshore waters of full salinity. Each female releases an average of 500,000 eggs per spawning. When the eggs hatch, the tiny larvae float in the upper surface waters without benefit of parental care, so that only a small fraction reach the post-larval stage. The young post-larvae, or fry, reach the coastline after 2 weeks. Sugpo fry then actively seek mangroves, estuaries, and other brackish water areas which serve as nurseries or feeding grounds. Here, they develop into juvenile and subadults. Completion of the sugpo's life cycle was achieved in late 1975 by means of Eyestalk Ablation. Unilateral ablation or destruction of one eyestalk decreases the hormone that prevents ripening of the ovaries to a sufficiently low level in order to allow maturation and subsequent spawning. SEAFDEC operates 3 experimental small tank hatchery systems and 1 large tank hatchery system to produce fry in large quantities. They are found in the research stations in Tigbawan, Iloilo and Batan, Aklan. With continuing research since 1977, the Aquaculture Department has developed a truly Filipino technology for larval rearing and nursery of sugpo and other prawns suited to local conditions. It has drawn the best and most locally appropriate features from Japanese, Taiwanese, and American technologies. Nevertheless, hatchery production of fry in 1982 was still way below total potential production of 250 to 500 million. 2 main problems of Philippine hatcheries are lack of skilled technicians and lack of spawners. Hatchery training programs at the department help alleviate the first problem. The problem of spawner supply can be minimized with the MNR BFAR ban on spawner export and dissemination of SEAFDEC technology on captive broodstock. Fish pond owners increasingly prefer hatchery and nursery grown fry because of their uniform size and available quantities in contrast to wild fry. In 1974, the department started a cooperators program in which prawn fry and culture technology were made available to selected farmers. This program stimulated an awareness of prawn culture among farmers that in part led to the development of the extensive system of prawn culture. Hand in hand with research efforts on generation and refinement of prawn culture technology are the training and extension program. Since 1974, the department has sponsored 18 training programs on prawn hatchery management and culture, attended by more than 900 participants. The department has been conducting insight training programs from Apari to Zamboanga, where researchers are brought to the field and farmers share insights and problems with scientists. At the 10-year mark of sustained prawn research and development by the Aquaculture Department, it can be said that the prawn industry has indeed benefited from a generous dose of technological support to carry it to the takeoff stage.